For decades, corporate acquisitions have followed a predictable rhythm. Two companies draft an agreement, legal teams review the terms, and the process culminates with a final signature. The operations merge, ownership officially transfers, and a clear line is drawn in the sand. Global antitrust law is built around this specific sequence. Regulators rely on that formal, legal transfer of power to decide if a monopoly is forming and whether they need to intervene. Curious, but the recent transaction between Meta and the AI firm Manus shows a large red stop sign directly in the middle of the process. It reads, "No operational control." Regulators balked, the companies walked away, and the deal technically failed. Looking closer at the timeline, however, reveals that the engineering teams had already started exploring how to link their systems together. The technical direction of both companies had actively begun to align. This suggests that in AI markets, the traditional sequence is breaking down. Control may begin to emerge through technical alignment well before any legal threshold is reached. Because integration pathways and system designs are mapped out during early talks, the technology often merges before the paperwork does. This creates a partially realized deal, a silent alignment that functions beneath the surface of traditional law. To understand how these deals bypass the rules, we have to look at the underlying architecture of the internet itself. This diagram shows adjacent layers of control. The top blue attention layer is Meta, capturing users. The green execution layer below is Manus, automating tasks. Integrating them via the blue arrow routes attention directly into automated execution, shifting control across the stack. Traditional companies lock their value inside physical factories or logistics networks. But an AI company's value is embedded directly in its data pipelines and engineering models, meaning two systems can be fused together quietly through code. By integrating adjacent layers of the tech stack, rather than buying out direct horizontal competitors, massive tech platforms can build significant market power without ever triggering standard antitrust scrutiny. A standard corporate merger moves through a strict timeline: the initial agreement, due diligence, a firm legal closing, and finally, operational integration. But look at the Meta-Manus timeline in this graphic. They pushed past due diligence, moving deeply into technical exploration and early alignment. Then they hit this red barrier line. The deal stopped. Without unified operational control, the companies remained legally independent. The lower icons track pre-integration activities, like sandbox testing and API reliance. But as the yellow warning sign indicates, this creates a risk of de facto control. Once architectures intertwine, operational dependence is cemented. One company effectively dictates the other's destiny without an acquisition. In the AI market, the threshold for market control has moved. It happens quietly, inside a testing sandbox, long before a regulator is ever notified. This strategy is not limited to a single deal. The playbook is rapidly expanding across the entire AI ecosystem. This chart compares three routes to market dominance. Column 1 shows a traditional merger. Column 2 shows the partially realized Meta-Manus deal. Column 3 tracks the evolution. Organizations like OpenAI achieve massive deployment influence through strategic partnerships and infrastructure dependence, bypassing traditional mergers altogether. This leaves a glaring regulatory blind spot. Global antitrust law is currently paralyzed because it is asking a question that the market has already moved past: should this merger be allowed? By the time lawyers and regulators formulate an answer, the technical integration is often already irreversible. The code is written, the data pipelines are active, and the market structure is set. As the boundary between partnership and acquisition dissolves, the future of the internet hinges on one specific timing problem: when does control actually begin?
Thanks for watching. For the deep dive economic analysis behind these stories, join us at EconWorks.com. Subscribe to stay informed on where law and economics meet the market. We'll see you in the next episode.